Okay, everybody, so let's start a brand new topic today. A fellow calls me up. He actually was in yeshiva, and he told me that he's listening to the business shiurim, so he has to be careful. He has the following shaila. What's the shaila? The shaila is like this. He managed to find a house upstate New York, and this is prime time right now. Upstate New York, house upstate, gewaldig, Rabbi Isai, right? This is the item of dreaming, upstate New York, by the country. So he found a nice house, and he said, this is great. There's no houses to be found. I could charge a fortune for this house. Can I charge way above the market value for such a house? And he says he's going to rent it to people who'll find customers in minutes, who put it on a status, who put it on I don't know what, figure it out, no problem, rent it out. A lot of money, right? But he said he's listening to business series and he's a bit nervous. Like he said, we haven't discussed that shaila yet. Is it mutter, is it asa? So I said, that's great shaila we do in share. So let's dedicate today's share to exactly this shaila. It is a shaila which is nageya to so many different situations of buying and selling. It's nageya not only to the seller but also to the customer that is buying something over here. So, Ben, I need a vayikra. I'm just going to look at the I'm going to read you the pasuk inside because I think it's important to understand, as we always do, where everything comes from. Shkoyach Ben, thank you Ben. Valdik. So if we go to Vayikra Chavhei, pasuk Yudalad. Oh, here Shtei Tazoy Rabbi Isai. Those of you that learn Bava Metzia in Daf Yomi, we had it not so long ago. But Al Kapan the pasuk says like this: Chavhei Yudalad Vayikra. Parshas Bahar. V'chisimkru mimkar la'amisecha, oy kono miyad amisecha, al toinoi ish es ochiv. That's an important word, by the way. We're going to talk about that. This pasuk is the makar for the halacha. It's a pasuk in the Torah. It's a da'oraisa, which the Gemara darshans and explains to us in Bava Metzia exactly how it's negeya, called oinah. Oinah in simple terms means to overcharge or even undercharge. So when you overcharge someone for what it is that you're selling, or undercharge when you pay, then you're over on this pasuk, which is a pasuk in the Torah. Gemara darshans it in the Gemara in Bava Metzia, Samach Aleph, Ahmed Aleph, that talks about the sugya of oinah. So I wanted to dedicate some minutes to try to understand, let's define what means oinah, what is subject to oinah, what is not subject to oinah, when am I allowed to charge extra? People do this all the time. Even Bacham in Yeshiva. They're selling something, put something on Amazon, they don't want it, they're selling it to somebody else, they're selling on their phone, they're selling on their car. People do this all the time. Am I allowed to overcharge more than the normal market value, if there is a market value? We'll have to discuss that, okay? So the basic idea means taking advantage of your brother. Of course, it means a yid, and therefore this pasuk is very clearly forbidding overcharging anyone else in that case. And by the way, the Gemara in Bava Metzia Samach Aleph Amud Beis learns that it's doime to gneva. It's like stealing. That's what you're doing. What do you mean? The guy agreed to pay it. What's the problem? I'm selling this shtender for $10,000. That's way over the market value. What's the problem? He's not stealing from him. He takes out his credit card. He pays me $10,000. So we'll have to discuss if he agrees for the overcharging. Maybe that will be different. What's that? Very good, very good. What happens if you want to buy Reb Chaim's Kanievsky Zatzal's kittel and they're selling it for a lot of money? Now, a kittel in the store is 100 shekel, 150 shekel, whatever it is, and here they're selling it for $500,000. So, is that oinah? Okay, we'll have to talk about that. Be'ezah Hashem Yisborach. Now, by the way, it doesn't only apply to buying and selling, but also applies to rentals as well. When you're renting out your car, or when you're hiring workers, or renting out workers, you're the middle guy, whatever it may be, anything similar to this sugya, a person could be over without even knowing these halachas on the issa da'oraisa of oinah. Now, how do we define the overcharging or undercharging? We're going to call it overcharging because that's the most common, but of course it also applies to undercharging. So overcharging, according to Chazal, means a sixth. It's a Gemara in Bava Metzia, it's a Gemara in Makkas. A sixth means a sixth of the going market price at any given place at any given time. It's 16.66% more than the market value. 16.66% more than the going rate in the market value. So just make a very simple case, right? Let's say, for example, an apple. an apple would normally cost, the normal market value in most stores is 60 cents. 60 cents for an apple. And some guy is selling it for 70 cents or more. Right? That is considered to be oinah. That's an issa d'oraisa, whether he knew about this or not. Or if somebody pays 50 cents, that's a sixth less than the market value. That's once again oinah. We'll discuss the halachas of what happens if that goes on. But al kaponim, it's a very nogeya situation. Now there is a shitas harosh. The poskim bring down this rosh, and they say that since we're dealing with an issa d'oraisa, it's kedai for a person to be choishes for shitas harosh. What is the shitas harosh? The rosh holds that if a person is deliberately, bedafka, charging more, even if it's less than a sixth, you're still over on oinah, which is a massive chiddush, because I know Api Chazal is a sixth, but al kaponim the rosh is choishes that it's even less when you're doing it bedafka. Mimela, according to shitas harosh, a person has to be careful, and again, as they say, the post can bring down the rosh because we're dealing with the pasuk of the Torah D'oraisa. Person should be choishes for shitas harosh in that case. Now, be very clear. The Torah is not telling you cannot make profit. That is not what the Torah is telling you. The Torah is not saying you're not allowed to profit from anything when you sell things to Yidden or whatever it may be. You've got to sell it at cost price. Absolutely not. The Torah is absolutely okay with you making business and making money from your business and making profit from your business. That is okay. However, if you're charging so much more than the going rate, than the market value of the item, you're taking advantage of somebody else. And that's not fair. The Gemara says it's doime to stealing. That's why a person has to be careful. By the way, the Ramban on that pasuk that we just learned says very clearly that even if it's done shaloi bekavona, I didn't have a kavanah to do that. I figured I'll make a price. I made a price. I didn't kavanah to overcharge somebody. The Ramban holds that you're over on the issa d'oraisa. It's a pasuk in the Torah that a person is over on when he does that in that case. Now, by the way, what happens if you have a company that manufactures two items, but very different items? Meaning they're the same item, but the way they manufacture it is different. Each one has their mahalach, how they make it, with their parts, with their efficiency, and whatever it may be. That is considered to be two different things. And therefore it doesn't have the din as one item, which is this charge of the market value. Because this company makes it different. It makes it a better quality, better working, better reputation, whatever it may be, a guarantee. So therefore it's a different item, legabe the halachas of oinah. Now, by the way, when it comes to oinah, if oinah happens, and this could be negated to you as the buyer or the seller, that means if you spent or charged more than 16.66% of the limit, the sale is bottle or mavutl. It's void, it doesn't work, it's gone, it's cancelled. There is no sale in that case. That means it's not the pshat that you can ask for the extra money back. Give me my 10 cents back for the apple or whatever it may be. But rather, there is no sale over here. I can ask for a refund for the entire amount because the sale was bottled. There is no sale when there's oinah in this case. Now, however, that being said, the Gemara says clearly, again, all of this is Gemaras, that there's a time limit. It cannot be forever that a person can claim to get oinah and bottle the sale and get the money back. It can't be forever. There has to be a limited amount of time. So we say, the Gemara says that when it comes, for example, to a person buying it, then there's a few hours of leeway that he has in order to claim enough time that he had to investigate the market value, the general price that's going on at that time, or to show it to his friends or a baki who knows how to evaluate it. That's enough time, a few hours for him to figure out that he had oinah done to him, go back to the seller and say, excuse me, there was oinah. That was a few hours. But beyond that, if he had enough time to do that and he didn't claim anything, then we take it as he was moichel and therefore the sale works. But the time limit is only on the purchaser, is only on the buyer. A seller, however, right, if it was undercharged or whatever, that could be something forever. And if the buyer has a good reason why he waited more than a few hours, for example, he bought it late at night, the markets are closed, the stores are closed, the evaluators are not up. So therefore, if that's the case, till tomorrow morning I have as well, for the amount of people that generally would be available in that case, and therefore the sale will be bottle and mavutl the next morning. It has to have enough time for a person to be able to do that. Now, by the way, Rabbi Sai, b'ma devarim amurim. Everything we've said until now pretty much applies, in most cases, to the times of Chazal, to the times of the Gemara. Why? Because in the times of Chazal, there were very well-defined market prices. There was a market price to everything. Everything had a specific price. However, nowadays, we know, we can go into two stores and buy the same exact item for two different prices. So how do you tell me that there's a market value when I can go to two stores and buy an apple for 60 cents and I go to another store and buy it for 65 cents? So what is the market value now? So the answer is, say the poskim, it's very hard nowadays to determine the market value of something unless it has a specific market value. It means that most of what we said is very rare. It's quite not negaya in most cases, which means to demand a full refund or to mevatel the sale or something like that is very hard to determine that's really true, because it's very hard to determine that there's a market value to begin with. However, there are certain prices that are set. Certain prices that are even made sometimes by the government, right? For example, what happens if you buy a newspaper or a magazine that has the price written on it, which is very often by magazines. You buy an Ami magazine, Mishpacha magazine, that has the price written on it. No one is going to a store and paying an extra $5 for a magazine and it says the price on it and everyone sells it at that price. If that's the case, that has a market value. And therefore, if there is someone selling it for higher than that price, that will consider to be oinah in that case. So therefore, anything that there is a set, clear price on it would be subject to oinah. Now, when is there no oinah? When is there no problem of overcharging or undercharging? So the Pasuk says, first of all, we said ochicha. Ochicha means, of course, your brother. That means a yid. So when you're buying or selling something from or to a yid, that's where it's negeya. That means to a goy, it's not negeya, but that doesn't mean, of course, chas v'shalom, that a person could cheat and steal from a goy. That's about the nisht. But akaponim, the issa v'ino is achicha. It is your brother. Another thing is something that has no determined market value, but is something that is subject to each individual person. I'll give you the biggest example that's negeya to all of us. Daled minim. Daled minim has no market value. There's no oinah when buying an esrog for $6,500. If that's what the seller says it's worth, and he could sell it for, and it's beautiful, and it's hodor, and it's a mitzvah, and all the gavaldige shmuzim that'll give you why it's worth spending $6,500 on this gavaldige esrog, there's no market value. Mimele, there's no market value because every seller will just say, what do you mean? It's clean, and it's this, and it's that, and the giddle, and the heiliger, the pitim, whatever. So, Mimele, there's no market value. Mimele, if there's no market value, then there's not going to be a problem of oinah in that case, because quality makes a big difference. Antiques, by the way, buying and selling antiques or collectible items are also not subject to oinah in that case. If a person buys a piece of land, a property, he buys real estate as an investment, and his idea is, I can make a lot of money from this investment. I'm going to buy this piece of property, I'm going to make a sach geld, it's going to be gewaldig. Lemaisa, it turned out to be not that way. The investment didn't work out, people didn't come to chap it, he's stuck now. Could he claim now that there was a no? I would never have bought it, I didn't know. Answer is no, absolutely not. If he was tricked into buying it because they gave him the wrong information about how good this property is and how much money he could make and how many buyers are interested, and it's not true, that's a very different shaila. That's maybe it's a mekach toyes, and maybe that would be a problem in that case. Now, by the way, if both the buyer and the seller, we spoke about this a moment ago maybe, if both the buyer and the seller are clearly aware that there is oinah in that case, they know the standard market value. Everybody knows the stender is 150 shekel. I'm selling it for 1,000 shekel. So if I'm selling it for 1,000 shekel, and you know what the market value is, and I know what the market value is, and we both agree to the sale, no problem whatsoever. There's no oinah. However, if I come along and say, like the Gemara Makkah says, I am selling this to you, al manas, that there's no oinah, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. You can't make a Tanai Mashakosa B'Torah, can't make a condition on that which the Torah said. Memela, that will be asa. Pinchas Menachem's kasha with Reb Chaim Kanievsky Zatzal's kittel. Obviously, there's no oinah in such a case because it's a one-off thing. And I know the person that has Reb Chaim Kanievsky's kittel, and I know who he is. And he walked into shul on Erev Yom Kippur with Reb Chaim Kanievsky's kittel, and the Olam said to him, they knew that he has a bissel gelt, and they said, don't you think you could have a bit of a nicer kittel, like dirty and creased, and what I'm saying, nowadays the kittles with the atudas and everything, you can get one of those. Why are you having one of these? So he whispered to his ear, it's Reb Chaim's kittel. Ah, okay. We don't mind all the stains. We'll take those stains, we'll squeeze them out. Al Kaponim, there's no oinah with such a case over there. Rabbi said the ik is always to remember in business, there's halachas for everything. The Torah has rules and regulations, and when we keep the Torah and we keep the halachas, we gain the best financially and spiritually. Have an amazing day.